I did the thing again. I didn't record. But okay. So I was watching Mr. Max stream just now. So while it's still fresh in my mind and while my brain is still like very active, though tired, I want to talk a little bit on how I do meta currency because we did talk a little bit about that, and I do sense this hostility towards meta currency. And I understand why, especially because the games that do meta currencies, they are very soy. So it is a totally valid, um what's the word? Not bias. Yeah, it's a totally valid bias. This is Modifius June. They have about 5 types of meta currencies. There's even one part in the book that they say like, "Wow, these are a lot of meta currencies. Have different, like coins and things at your table so the players can better manage it." That is too much. At that point, with like 5 meta currencies, if you're using like real physical tokens, you'd be player poker by then. But like the rules in that game, I see a lot of possibilities in it, but I don't like the execution. So much so that I took some inspiration from Modifius in the way they like to do abstractions. Because again, they emulate really well. Some of the rules emulate really well, like the way the books go, and I love it. I love the books. Like Dune is one of my favorite novels out there when it comes to fiction. If it's a novel, it is a fiction, right? Anyway, so I really thought like I think I can make it work. So is it narcissism? I don't know, but is it optimism? Maybe, I don't know. So my game is is a vomit of everything I like and I think it's interesting, be it mechanically or like thematically. So I want to explain on how I do meta currencies, and I guess it's up to you to decide if it's soy or not. You know. Okay, so the way I do it, right? I only have one meta currency, and why I have this meta currency, because they become an I don't know if crutch is the right word, but they are a crutch or a leeway into simulating other mechanics that so the main mechanics are simple, but because of these you can get away into doing some things that are not necessarily written, such as like specific actions, like cleaving and stuff like that. I'm gonna use the Portuguese word. One, because most of my games I play in this Portuguese Spanish setting. Because if I'm playing my native language, I don't like to be speaking Portuguese. For example, when I play Doom, it's very strange to play in Portuguese because all the words they are in English, spices, especiaria. I don't like that. Sounds weird to me. The name of the name of like steel suits, like Chris Knife. We have the localizations, but they sound strange. I prefer the because I've read in English the novel, so I prefer those names. It sounds weird. I mean, like we're role playing Portuguese, and then suddenly you just drop this Anglais, word. Anyway, so fortunio, right? Like is like fortune, like good luck. I have 4 main things you can do with it, and the way you acquire fortunio is every time you roll a 1 on a test, you accumulate 1 token of fortunio. Players can have up to, rather saying characters can have up to, yeah, players can have up to 2 tokens at a time, and the same way they do it, the NPCs can also do during combat. So you have an extra action, create a trait, create a tool, and live another day. Another thing I'd like to say, when I created this, or rather when I adapted from Modifius and tried to make it work, and it has been working, well in my games. It can always be better, right? But has been working. Has been working. When I adapted, I didn't know about the 4D stuff, but I really liked how it allows it mechanically helps players go into 4D. That's what I realize now. I was gravitating towards it without knowing it, and I want to make some changes so it better accommodates 4D, because something that Mr. Max said was really a good point is you really don't want to gamify 4D, because 4D is the nature of 4D is spontaneity, according to Google. Doesn't sounds a little bit strange, but yeah, you shouldn't mess with that. I agree with you, Mr. Max. But you know, like the social contract, is it a game mechanic? You know, we have like this agreeing that it should work this way. But yeah, maybe I'm trying to defend myself here. But again, I'm always open to change. I've been like my game at that I have changed, like I've done like maybe 3 overhauls by now, and if I have the spark of creativity again, I will overhaul it again. You know, I will do it. But yeah, an action is the one thing you do at a turn, because if you boil down, if you get someone's turn in a game and you boil down to the atom, it's it's the one thing they do. So with one token you can get an extra action. So like the hack and slash, you know, this can help simulate, for example, you know, in Zorro, the one with Antonio Banderas, like there's the one scene that he jumps on top of the table and there's like 6 7 guys around him, and it's like he's like, you know, like slicing all of them. This help creates that, so I don't need to have like this weapon has cleave, this one can, you know, you can use this to make it work. That's the thing I kind of like. Fortunio like I think I said it. Fortunio helps you bring mechanically things that maybe are not necessarily there in the rules. At least the way I'm trying to make it work, and it has been working so far. It kind of worked well. Yeah, or like move far. Again, I will explain combat how I do like distances, shooting guns, like aiming. I did had it down to a little, like a way to work with that. Another video. Traitor complication. So for 2 tokens, let's say that you miss the attack, but if you have 2 tokens, even though you miss and you do not wound the character, you can make a complication for him. Like you role play, you role play that you've managed to, you know, mess with his footing, his footwork, or I think I used that in the last video. This example, you can manage to just make a little slice on his brow so it starts to bleed and blind him. You won't kill him, but it's a little advantage you can have over him. Or you can say that you got a good footwork, or you got confident, and things like that, because that's going to help you mechanically, you know, giving a +1 or usually a +1, things like that. Create a tool. Again, this is something that 4D covers, and once again, maybe I really was gravitating towards it, and this is the one that maybe I would change after some reconsideration. But yeah, you can create a tool or a weapon, like I said in the last video. Tools and weapons, everything you use to help you do something is a tool in terms of mechanic in my game. And live another day, because you only have 4 wounds. If you get like wounded 4 times, you have to roll the a little table to see if you die or how you get maimed. Like I didn't want the game to be too brutal, and again, I think maybe this is still a little bit of this like fantasy, you know, basic fantasy mindset, but I'm still gonna keep it for now. again, I want to have more. I want to have more for these sessions using my system and gauge like what can be improved, what can be removed, and so on. But that's how I do meta currencies. Like I said in the beginning, I understand this cultural reaction, because nowadays I see Marvel and I have that, so, or Star Wars, rest in peace. So I understand that, but I guess what I want to do with this video is show that maybe there are ways you can work meta currency. So like the system, this is not like an afterthought. The system was designed with this in mind, like so the players can have like, this is a mechanic that is a normal part of combat, like the having an extra action, or even enemies doing surprising things by having more actions and things like that. Like I said, I still want to see like how can we better role play that. I had some players do it better than others. If you're going to play online, it does help people keeping track, things, having the dice up front, so both everyone can see when you get a 1 or a 12. The talents, there is one talent that helps you generate more fortune in a very specific way. The way I do talents is mostly world building and helping your character have a theme. For example, there is a talent that is like, in Portuguese, muitas garruchas, like several flintlocks. That is parts of the Caribbean. Like you pull a flintlock, shoot, pull another one, shoot, pull another one. Because again, in 4D you create stuff, right? Based on feeling, like based on the social contract and trust. The 4D player knows when, like, or he should knows, he should develop the instinct of knowing, like, yeah, I can pull this out of my pocket, and things like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't, like, this is a bit too much, this is winning the game. But with Grade 2, maybe the way it could be integrated, and again, I want to have more games and specifically focus on this part. Maybe with Grade 2, you can accept like a little bit more of the one thing. You'll be like, maybe not this, maybe not this, but with this mechanic, like, okay, I can go a little bit, because again, this is the surprise in the book, this is the character pulling like the poison, like, oh, I have this super poison, this strong poison, we can use it, things like that. But yeah, that's it. Yeah, so again, final words. I've been getting some views. I was not expecting that. Like, this is a little bit new for me, but I do enjoy the feedback. I don't have that many people to talk up these things about. I have like one good buddy, but now there's Shoner. Shoner has been incredibly merciful, but yeah, I'd like to hear other people's opinions. And since nobody is defending meta currency, I'll gently raise my hand. But yeah, moral of the day is, don't be soy, eat meat.